Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Today I bring to you the best Kushala Armor guide, the new Ice meta build. This video analyzes the Kushala DAORA armor set. We will take a look at each piece of the Kushala gear and analyze where they fit into builds and if they are worth forging. This is not a build video. I will cover that in separate videos. Again, big disclaimer, not a build video. I will cover that in separate videos. Alright, let's jump right into it. Here's the list of the Kushala armor. For the helmet, we have the Kushala Glare. For the body, we have the Kushala Sista. For the arms, we have the Kushala Grip. For the waist, we have the Kushala Cocoon. And for the leggings, you have the Kushala Cruce. And here are the forge requirements for the Kushala armor. All Kushala armor start off at grade 6. This means you will also unlock its layered armor at the same time. So when you forge the Kushala armor, you're going to unlock the layered armor again at the same time. To forge the Kushala armor, you need 4 DAORA shells, which are rarity 3, 2 Elder Dragon Blood, which are rarity 4, 2 DAORA tails, which are rarity 5, 1 armor refining parts, which are rarity 3, and 3000 Zenny. Next, we have the Kushala armor stats and equipment skills. The Kushala armor has a base defense of 100, and the Kushala armor has a total of 3 equipment skills. Now, all the Kushala armor has 1 equipment skill across all pieces. The other 2 skills are different for each armor piece. Again, one of them is going to be the same for all of them, and the other 2 are different for each armor piece. Now, here's an important note. The Kushala armor must be upgraded to grade 8.1 to get its 3rd skill and its Drift Smelt slot. So if you're going to get both the Drift Smelt slot and unlock the final skill, you must be at grade 8. And here is the equipment skill that all the Kushala armor have. That's a max level of 3. It's called the Kushala Frostwind. Again, it maxes out at level 3, so you only need 3 pieces of armor to max it out. And it reduces the effect of wind pressure / dragon wind pressure and increases ice element attack by 10%, 20%, and then 25% depending on the level. And since we are talking about drift smelting, well, if you're gonna get drift smelting armor or the 3rd skill you need for the Kushala armor, you need to get them to grade 8. So here we have the Kushala weapon material requirements per grade 6 to 8. Here we have the Kushala material requirements to get the Kushala armor to grade 8.1, or just grade 8 in general. As you see, it progressively requires more materials. However, it's important to note that Kushala armor does not require rarity 1 or rarity 2 materials. This is nice considering how difficult the materials are to obtain. So what exactly are the materials to get the Kushala armor from a new forge to grade 8.1 to get your Driftstone and your 3rd skill? Well, here it is. Here are the requirements to get a piece of Kushala armor from a new forge to grade 8.1. This will unlock a Kushala armor piece 3rd skill and its Drift Smelt slot. To unlock this, you must have 37 DAORA shells, which are rarity 3, 22 Elder Dragon Bloods, which are rarity 4, 11 DAORA tails, which are rarity 5, 3 DAORA horns, which are rarity 6, 9 weapon refining parts, which are rarity 3, and 42,000 Zenny. Next, we have a very important question. Should you max Kushala weapons to grade 10.5 or Kushala armor to grade 8.1 first? Here are the requirements to max out a Kushala weapon from a new forge to grade 10.5 max. If you watched my weapon video, I was wrong about the materials. It's actually a lot worse than I thought. Thank you whoever corrected me about that and told me and pointed it out. So here's what you need to get a Kushala weapon from a new forge to grade 10.5 and max it out. 798 DAORA shells, which are rarity 3, 440 Elder Dragon Bloods, which are rarity 4, 170 DAORA tails, which are rarity 5, 48 DAORA horns, which are rarity 6, 25 weapon refining parts, which are rarity 3, and 420,000 Zenny. Whoever made that number, you deserve a raise. That's an incredible number. If you compare this side by side, it obviously takes a lot more materials to max a Kushala weapon first. Therefore, consider upgrading your Kushala armor pieces to grade 8.1 first to unlock its third skills and drift smelt into them before you work on maxing out a Kushala weapon. This is just better because drift smelting, as someone that actually has a full drift smelt build and spent money on it and has a lot of insta smelts into it, I can give you with credibility and experience, it takes a whole lot of time. So if you plan on making that ultimate drift smelt build or full drift smelt build with Kushala Armor, it's definitely worth it to get the armor there first because you're going to spend a lot of time getting that weapon anyways. It's 3 DAORA horns versus 48 for 110.5 versus an 8.1. In other words, you can get 8.1 the entire set of Kushala Armor, and it would only take 15 horns to get all 3 equipment skills and the drift smelt slots, and comparison to the 10.5 weapon that you would get for Kushala weapon. So again, consider getting the armor first instead of maxing out your weapon first, unless you just don't plan on building the Kushala armor for whatever purpose. And now we dive right into the armor. First, we're going to start off with the Kushala helmet's equipment skills. The Kushala helmet, the Kushala glare, has the following equipment skills. You have the Kushala Frostwind at level 1, which reduces the effects of wind pressure / dragon wind pressure and increases ice elemental attack power by 10%. It also has reload speed level 1, which slightly reduces reload time for bowguns. And last but not least, earplugs at grade 8, level 1, which slightly reduces the effects of weak monster roars. And now here's the Kushala helmet analysis. The Kushala helmet is best used with bowgun builds. However, it doesn't really fit in with light bowgun, as you would need 4 pieces of armor with the Kushala helmet instead of the current 3-piece meta. You want 3 pieces in a soda? Well, the 3-piece light bowgun meta is the Lumu Male, the Koropuke Coil, and the Azur Rathalos Greaves to max out reload speed level 3 and recoil down level 3. Kushala Frostwind pairs with ice builds. Earplugs isn't a great skill, but it's a nice to have. Overall, not really worth building unless you want the layered armor. There's actually one piece that's worse than this one, but at least this thing can fit into one build instead of having practically little to no use at all. Up next, we have the Kushala Male equipment skills. The Kushala Male, the Kushala Sista, has the following equipment skills. Kushala Frostwind at level 1, which reduces the effect of wind pressure / dragon wind pressure and increases ice elemental attack power by 10%. Along with Part Breaker level 1, which increases part damage accumulated on breakable parts by 5%. And last but not least, we have Health Boost, which you unlock at grade 8 level 1, which increases health by 10%. And here is the Kushala Male analysis. The Kushala Male can be used in a Part Breaker build. The Kushala Male is able to give a better option for Part Breaker builds versus the Bambaro Male, as Kushala's Frostwind pairs with ice builds, and Part Breaker allows you to make a flexible Part Breaker 5 build with lock-on for melee users. So if you use lock-on, this is great because guess what? This is a great piece for that slot. The unfortunate thing is Health Boost is terrible. Overall, the Kushala body fits into some builds, so it's an okay piece to forge. The only problem is that's Health Boost. With a kind of near useless third skill to have with it, it's okay. On to the next one, and we have the Kushala Vambraces equipment skills. The Kushala Vambraces, or the Kushala Grip, has the following equipment skills. Kushala Frostwind level 1, which reduces the effect of wind pressure / dragon wind pressure and increases ice elemental attack power by 10%. It also has Focus level 1, which shortens charging time of charge attacks by 5% and increases the fill rate of the longsword and charge blade gauge by 5%. And last but not least, you have Evade Extender at grade 8, which you unlock it at level 1, which very slightly extends evasion distance. And now for the Kushala Vambraces analysis. It is absolutely the best piece of Kushala armor. The Kushala Vambraces having Focus is perfect for the Kushala bow. Kushala Frostwind pairs with ice builds, and Focus is a must for bow builds and helps with other weapon types that use charge attacks. In addition, Evade Extender is a great movement skill to have. No, seriously, it helps you go to monsters faster when you roll towards them. It extends your evasion distance. It's great. And overall, this is the best piece of Kushala Armor as all of its skills are strong and has many uses. Frostwind for ice, focus for bows, charge attacks, and I forgot the spear gauge for longsword, etc. And you have evade extender, increasing your evasion distance and allowing you to chase after Kushala faster as it runs away from you, and or prepares to try to blow you away with the ultimate tornado attack. So this piece is definitely great to build. I would definitely consider this one, especially if you are bow main and you are looking to build the Kushala bow for the meta build and the full Driftstone build in the future. Next, we have the Kushala Coil, and here are its equipment skills. The Kushala Coil, or the Kushala Cocoon, has the following equipment skills. Kushala Frostwind at level 1, which reduces the effects of wind pressure / dragon wind pressure and increases ice elemental attack power by 10%. It also has Weakness Exploit level 1, which increases the affinity by 20% when attacking a monster's weak spot. And lastly, you have Windproof, which you unlock at grade 8 at level 1, which slightly reduces the effects of minor wind pressure. And now here's the analysis for the Kushala Coil. This is the second best piece of Kushala armor, and specifically because of one equipment skill. The Kushala Coil is a flexible piece with Weakness Exploit, or Wex, and it is the only Wex piece so far in the game for the waist slot, so it's the only one for the waist slot, and Kushala's Frostwind pairs well with ice builds. And Wex is good for crit builds, especially melee users with lock-on. You almost always want lock-on with Weakness Exploit unless you're just an absolute god at aiming for stuff, because in order for you to proc Weakness Exploit, you must attack weak spots. Sadly, Windproof isn't great, and it's okay in some scenarios. Although it has Weakness Exploit, Kushala Coil struggles to fit into builds unless you Driftstone to get Ice Attack 5. In all the builds that I've researched, literally this thing is only really good unless you're trying to get Ice Attack 5 with Driftstone. So other than that, not really great. It does have Wex, which is why it still beats out some of the other armor pieces for the Kushala armor set. Speaking of usefulness, we have the last piece of armor for the Kushala armor set, and it's the Kushala Greaves. And here's its equipment skills. The Kushala Greaves, or the Kushala Cruce, has the following equipment skills. Kushala Frostwind level 1, which reduces the effects of wind pressure / dragon wind pressure and increases ice elemental attack power by 10%. It also has Skyward Striker level 1, which increases the damage of aerial attacks by 15%. And for its final skill, we have the Artful Dodger, which is unlocked at grade 8 at level 1, which makes perfect evades ever so slightly easier to perform. And now here's the analysis for the Kushala Greaves. It is the worst piece of Kushala armor, sadly. The thing is, the Kushala Greaves don't really fit into any build right now. However, #, with a giant asterisk, this might be an important piece of armor when Insect Glaive releases. Insect Glaive flies through the air, slashes through the air like gracefully and beautifully. The words can't describe just its beauty. Kushala's Frostwind pairs well with ice builds, and Skyward Striker isn't a great primary skill for any weapon that has aerial attacks right now. No, seriously, it's bad. Stop lying to yourself and saying it's good, unless it's Insect Glaive in the future. Because for you Insect Glaive mains, for me that played around, Insect Glaive made me really close to switching my main weapon from dual blades to Insect Glaive. I tested all the weapons in World and Rise and played around with them all just for fun whenever I wanted to like try something new. And I was like, you know what? IG's pretty cool. Might want to try that in the future. And it has Artful Dodger, which is a good extra defensive skill to have. Actually, it's pretty great, especially if you're good at perfect dodging, but it does require a good amount of player skill. Even though it slightly increases your frame dodge, it still requires player skill. And like I mentioned, until Insect Glaive releases, this piece of armor isn't going to find its way into any meta build anytime soon. So it can be good, but I'm just hoping for it because I really like the Insect Glaive and its aerial movement, so I can't wait to see it come out, and maybe this piece will be good then. And now we go on to the most important topic. Should you build the Kushala armor? Real quick, before I get started with this one, shout out to my friend out here for helping me out with this. I have 3 degrees. I have an associate's, a bachelor's, and a master's. You need a master's if you want to be a mental health clinician. But we were just talking about while we were doing all this theory crafting, me and him in a call. He was like, man, this is like grad school. I can't believe it. I like this way better than grad school. And then me and him started talking about and started making fun of each other of which subjects we actually liked and hated in college. Now, I did pay attention to therapy modalities and whatnot and the diagnosis class when I was in grad school to become a therapist. But he also made fun of me at how I almost bombed my diagnosis test. So this was a lot of fun. So I had a lot of fun making this section. But again, kudos to him because we did a whole lot of work and like putting together as to how can we make this work and what's the best. Because it was like we wanted to make sure we like cover all the bases because the Kushala Armor is really hard to build. And of course, raids take a whole lot of time. And if you're going to take a whole lot of time and resources, it better be good. The thing is, should you build the Kushala Armor? Not really, unless you are willing to create a full drift smelt build and or you want the layered armored set. You want to look cool? Are you willing to invest that money or that time into a full drift smelt build? Well, this might be worth looking into. The Kushala Armor is only really important for the best Kushala bow build. Other than that, the rest of the armor doesn't fit into the best ice builds unless it's a full drift smelt build. As you see in the data comparison right here, if we look at all possible combinations, and what I mean by all possible ones is that putting together the most effective pieces and drift smelting the most effective combinations onto it, you have this. The full drift smelt Kushala build, as far as melee goes, only beats out the ultimate crit melee build by 68 practical theoretical damage points. 68. That's it. So the actual best ultimate crit build that's flexible and super great, the one that I put together and has evidence backing it, unfortunately, it's... Well, actually, no, that's good. It's only beaten by 68 points. So if you're going to put all the... You don't need it. You don't really need it. And my last point here, at the same time, the best practical non-drift smelt ice melee build, which is this one right here at the bottom. No drift smelt, no drift stones. Can work just fine for you without any driftstones. It'll get by you for most of the time. Again, if you don't want to invest in the Kushala Armor, you just want the weapon, you want the best practical ice build with no drift smelts, this is it right here, and you don't need it. It still does a pretty high amount of damage, as you see right here, so no point in stressing about the Kushala Armor. Hopefully this helps you decide what Kushala Armor you decide to build. Remember, the Kushala Armor is nice to have, but not an absolute must if you want to do well in the endgame / postgame. Here's right here, yeah, it looks cool. If you want to look cool, yeah, go ahead, put into it. But again, the armor, unless it's specific builds or you're really willing to make that full drift smelt build or driftstone build, not worth it. And again, hopefully this guide helped you out to decide what you want to build for Kushala Armor. Please do me a huge favor, like, subscribe, and comment for YouTube algorithm. Like I said before, me and my buddy were on the call, so for the weapons and armor, Kushala stuff, we were really theory crafting and trying to put together, hey, this works, no, you're wrong, this works. I'm like, oh, you're right. Okay, that works better. Okay, what about this? And he's like, no, let's take a look at that. So I had a lot of fun doing this. I always enjoy analysis, and I'm glad I have some friends that like doing the same thing, because for Pokemon Go, yeah, I did it a lot, and I did a lot of great things for Pokemon Go, but for Pokemon Go PvP, it slowly started getting boring because, yeah. Unlike Monster Hunter now, I really enjoy Monster Hunter now and I'm passionate about it, so every day I've wanted to open the game and play the game. I've never been bored of it, so love this game, want to continue to succeed, and hopefully you guys are enjoying Kushala. Please do me a huge favor again, like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. Good luck on your grinds and your Kushala DAORA drops, and I will see y'all on the next video.